Welcome to the Movers and Shakers podcast, where real students are doing real deals in the world of multifamily real estate. I'm Vince Gettings, the owner of the Wheelwell Profits Academy. Listen in as we dive into the journeys of driven individuals who are turning their dreams into reality. These people are just like you, taking action and making things happen. If you enjoy the show, please like, subscribe, and if you're ready to take action, check us out at wheelwellprofits.com to learn more about our incredible community. Let's get started.
This is Movers and Shakers, where we interview the upcoming generation of make it happen multifamily investors to share their story.
Welcome to the Movers and Shakers podcast. My name is Gino Barbaro, co-founder of Jake and Gino, and I am here with my Yosef, the community director of Jake and Gino, Josh Rusin. Josh, how you doing today?
Gino, making it happen, man. Feeling fresh. Just got out of a haircut, and I'm excited. We got a guest on today who's also got some really good hair.
Let me ask you a question, Josh. How does it feel being next to me doing a podcast?
Proximity is power, my friends. And if you've ever taken something away, it's proximity is power.
And we're going to learn all about that on this podcast. So without further ado, let's introduce our guest today.
Yes, sir. Today's guest is Yosef Lee. A little bit about Yosef. He's a believer, a South Korean immigrant, father of two beautiful girls, a lawyer from New York City, multifamily apartment syndicator and investor. He's a people connector, status quo hater, strategic planner, action taker, Pilates studio owner, entrepreneur wannabe. Yosef has a vision to take control of his time through financial freedom. Along the journey, he wants to make changes in others' lives and empower them to become better versions of themselves and help them create generational wealth for their family. Without further ado, welcome to the show, Yosef.
Thank you, Josh, for the introduction. And Gino, my pleasure seeing you again. Thank you for having me today.
That is some bio, man. That is one of the best bios that I've ever seen written. There's a lot of stuff going on there today. And for everybody listening to the show, Mr. Yosef is a make it happen. Do you know why? He ain't eating lunch today. He's skipping lunch and he's working through the lunch hour and he's doing the entrepreneurial grind. So he's not a wannabe entrepreneur. He is an entrepreneur. He does what it needs to get done to be an entrepreneur. Yosef, tell us about your journey. How did you get into a multifamily? How did you even think about multifamily? More importantly, let's go back to college and why you became a lawyer.
Yeah, a little bit of my background. So, like Josh said, I'm a South Korean immigrant. I was a month shy of 18 years old when I landed on the US. Wow. And that came with like huge cultural excitement, but also many challenges, right? Lifestyle's different, new people, new friends, language is one of the things too. So ever since, my life has been all about, I got to prove myself in this new country, right? So just trying to get better version of myself every day. It was with me from the early stage of my life. And, I achieved some goals, also made lots of mistakes, paid the price for it, learned the lessons and moved on. That's basically what my life was all about. And law school. So I wanted to become a somebody, right? And I wanted to show my parents and friends that I achieved something. And initially, I wanted to work for an international organization. And one of the requirements to start with the better ranking was either you have further degrees of like a law or a political science and all that. So I chose law school to be able to work for that international organization. And I went to law school, graduated, became an attorney, but I just ended up staying in the private sector. And, just being a lawyer was something of, especially for Korean immigrant families, like parents, you got to be a doctor, a lawyer, or somebody. Don't even think about opening a business. You got to work for a big company, be an employee, securities. I don't know. So it was just in me from the beginning, and maybe it was just attractive to become an attorney. So I became an attorney, worked hard. Fast forward 2018, still hustling, working hard, hours and hours, nowhere close to any financial freedom. Right. Well, don't get me wrong. I still love my job. It was just that each year I worked harder and harder, but I get the less time that I have be able to spend time with my family. Essentially, I realized, okay, the job I have, it's trading my time for money. So the more money I want to make, the more time I got to spend. And that's completely against the notion of my ideal job. So I realized that also through reading Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad and Poor Dad, and I realized I was one of the rats in the race, right? So I concluded that, okay, so I must become an investor eventually so that I can build passive income stream with some tax benefits to achieve freedom of TPO. I like to call it TPO, time, place, and occurrence. And I started looking for my ideal investment vehicles, did a little bit of research and did a little bit of stocks, mutual funds, and REITs. But in the end, by natural progression, I came to a real estate, and then I happened to stumble upon multifamily. And gosh, it was like a light bulb moment, because the benefits the multifamily apartment provides was just no-brainer. I couldn't just skip that. So
we're gonna dive into that right now. But let me go back to something that you said. Let me recap real quick. Become an immigrant, work hard, go to school, get a great job. You find out that you became a rat in the rat race. We've all been there. We've all been rats. We want to get out of the hamster wheel. For you, when you mentioned that to your family that you're going to go into multifamily, what was the general consensus? What were their opinions? Did they think you were crazy, or what were their thoughts about it?
Well, first of all, the concept of multifamily investing, especially the commercial side, is kind of foreign to people in New York, because as you know, you're from New York too. This is appreciation market. When it comes to real estate investing, they always think about maybe buying a house, flipping, keeping, and then make chunk of money and pay taxes, or duplex house hacking kind of thing. And when you talk about apartment and multifamily, they think it's a place for institutional level money, right? Not us individuals. So it was kind of foreign to them in the beginning. They didn't really believe it. I told them, oh, I'm gonna be part of this group, and I'm gonna be associating with these investors. And there's a seminar, like boot camp. Like they go, what? Seminar? You sure this is the right place?
It's the BS meter. The BS meter comes up to all the New Yorkers. They're skeptical because they don't know what they don't know, because everyone thinks that real estate is only done one way. You buy a house or you buy an apartment and then you flip it, you don't hold it. They don't look at the other benefits or the other ways to invest in multifamily. And that's one of the benefits of education. You educate yourself to see all of the different strategies and all the different techniques. And then that action coupled with the education equals your results. So when you started going to Jake and Gino, what were your big pain points, Yosef? What did you not know, or did you really learn through the community? What were the benefits of joining the community?
Well, first of all, education was a big part of it. Yes, I was doing education from listening to the podcast, reading some books, but it was more of a bits and pieces from here and there. There was no set curriculum, like where you could take it step by step. And as you take the step-by-step curriculum, things are more clearer, things are making more sense, right? So that was a big part of it. Like, because Jake and Gino has this curriculum, extensive amount of education, which is also practical, not just academic. And it gave me this confidence that, wow, this amount of knowledge that you could take step by step with the help of your one-on-one coaches and deal coaches. So it was great. And second of all, it was the network that it came with the group. I believe it's just not the education itself, but the network and the people in the group that comes with it. And I met so many great and amazing like-minded investors through this Jake and Gino group.
Yosef, I had the pleasure a few weeks ago of podcasting a gentleman named Mark Victor Hansen. He wrote The Chicken Soup for the Soul, and he talks about the mastermind. 1 + 1 is not 2, it's 11. And I think you are an amazing example of that. During COVID, you join. You can make the excuse, I can't get anywhere, I can't do anything, but you persevered. You went on. My brother affectionately refers to you as Yosef the Broseph. And yes. I mean, like, you're part of that whole entire network, but you put a lot of hard work and a lot of hard effort into it. Can you speak a little bit to that network and to the community that has elevated you, and you've also elevated the community at the same time, and how the power of that mastermind has really helped you to learn multifamily and to actually start taking deals down with other community members?
Sure. So first thing, since I was out of state and New York City is not going to be the place where I'm going to be investing, from the beginning, I knew that I need to invest in out of state. So through Jake and Gino, I picked the market and started market research and started how to talk to the brokers and lenders and all that. But at the same time, since I am from out of state, I needed to find a boots on the ground partner, right? That was the critical thing. The first two things I had in my mind when I joined Jake and Gino was picking the market and doing the networking so that I could find a right partner, especially boots on the ground, local partner. So the networking I started was basically I reached out everyone that I think I could, right? So I actually counted a little. I actually did at least 2 or 3 networking calls a day, almost every day throughout 2020, ever since I joined in, I think, late February or early March.
Wow.
So I did about 200 networking Zoom calls.
Wow.
In 2020 alone, because almost every day, 2 people. And with the one goal to find a right partner. And at the same time, also meeting people is one of the joy that I always enjoy. But since COVID shut down, I couldn't go out. I used to go out a lot of functions, lawyers functions, community functions, but it's all shut down. So I needed a place to have that joy of meeting new people. And perfectly, Jake and Gino was that playground. So I did that. And I wanna talk a little bit about how my approach was. So in the beginning, I was just meeting people, introducing myself, and my approach was like, what can I do for you? I want to add value, because I was so pumped up. I was so excited about I'm doing this real estate multifamily. I just joined this great network, but I didn't really know how to approach in the beginning. So all I did was, what can I do for you? But later, soon I realized it's like creating another job for them, for those who are already busy, right? Because they don't know me, right? And I witnessed this a lot from new Jake and Gino members too. When we network, by now, they always come and ask like, oh, Yosef, good, great to meet you. I heard about you. What can I do for you? Is there anything that I could add value to you? And then I go, oh, but I don't know what you're good at. And I don't know what kind of value you could bring to me, right? So I explained this to them. Oh, I was in the same shoes. I was in the same place. I started doing like that, which is good. That tells me that you are interested in helping others. That's good, but you got to know yourself first. So the exercise I did in the beginning was I took out a piece of paper. I wrote down what kind of skills that I have and what kind of value I could bring to the table, and then try to look for the potential partners who can complement with me each other, right? Because I don't want 2 Yosefs in my team. I want Josh, I want Gino, who has some other skill sets that I do not have or I'm not good at. So that's the thing I did in the beginning. And then I flipped my approach and I started putting myself out there like, okay, I'm Yosef, so I could add value this way. I need a boots on the ground partner, so please contact me. And then from that point on, some people started contacting to me, and then it was me now vetting them and trying to see if they're a good fit for me. So I started meeting one by one like that, and I got connected to my initial partner, Joe Sullivan, a great guy, and we all know him. He said, "Hey, Yosef, I heard you're looking for a boots on the ground partner." I think this is what he said. He said, I like to focus on my market locally, right? But I need somebody who could, help me to scale up my business. We're more savvy in terms of business or law and things like that. I think you're a perfect fit. Would you like to look at a Kansas City market with me? I never thought about Kansas City before, but he was actually the one who brought market to me. So we started underwriting together, and I started liking the market instantaneously, and that's where we did the first deal.
That's awesome. So let me recap that, everybody, because there's
Sorry,
a
I
lot.
talked too much.
No, there's a lot of golden nuggets, and you're walking through your entire story, and it's important for everybody to really take notes here, because the first thing that Yosef recognizes that where is his value lie. Everyone listening to this call right now, I challenge you, where does your value lie? Do you lie in being boots on the ground? Do you lie in being a capital raiser? Are you good at managing the asset, whether it's property management or asset management? Find out where your value is. The next thing is you need to have a growth mindset. How many calls did Yosef do, everybody? 200 calls. He was doing a bunch of calls. He got on every day. COVID did not stop him. Having that growth mindset was important. And the next thing is Yosef had goals, number of goals he had to do. He reverse engineered it and he set up what we call a KPI, a key performance indicator. He said, I'm going to do 2 calls a day, reach out and do these Zoom calls. So he set up KPIs for himself to be able to network with other students. So it's not just a women of prayer. I'm going to join a group and I'm going to hopefully something happens. You have to take massive action through the group, finding that right community. And then once you find that right community, continue to go on, whether we have these boot camps internally every couple of months, whether we have the Zoom calls, whether we have the Monday lessons, whatever that may be, a money mixer, but you need to continue to put yourself out there. And I love it. It's time, place, and occurrence. A TPO, that is what his framework is, and he's built out his entire repertoire through that. Let's dive into that first deal. I mean, like you said, most New Yorkers couldn't find Kansas City in a map. And let's be honest, right? Most New Yorkers don't know where Kansas City is. It's a great multifamily market. So if you're telling your friends in New York that you're investing in Kansas City, they'll first think you're crazy. And then they'll say, next the question is, well, where's Kansas City? I bet you when Yosef knows where Kansas City is right now, right, Yosef? Let's talk about that first deal. How did you guys find that first deal? And what was the attraction, or what did you like about that first deal?
Okay. So this first deal, it was 43 unit apartment in Lawrence, Kansas. It came through Joe's friend who knew the seller directly, so he connected to us. And later we gave him the finder's fee as a consultant. So this property was 1963 vintage. Obviously seller direct because it's from Joe's friend who connected the seller to us. And he was motivated. I recall he wanted to like either retire soon or wanted to get a bigger property. So he was actually motivated. The only condition he said, like picking us as a buyer, was if you can close this within this year. So we said, of course, that's what we want. It was, I think we found a deal back in September of 2020 or October 2020 and submitted LOI. And we got it on the contract in October 2020. I think the seller wanted it to be closed within 2020. So we had 2 months. We said, okay, we'll close it. So that's how it started. And we loved the deal because it's a C property. Well, the initially what I learned from Jake and Gino was the C property is where the opportunity is, because we could do value add if it's a right property. We can do cash out refi later on. That's all I learned. So basically I was learning a lot, but at the same time, this was a perfect place where I could implement what I learned through Jake and Gino into the actual deal. So I was very excited on this deal. And this deal was about $200 below market rent already. So there was a lot of rooms there. And it was a workforce housing. So we could test the things we learned about dealing with the tenants and the lenders. So yeah, it was a perfect example of the great deal of C-class value add.
So let me recap that real quick for everybody. It was a 1963 build, a little bit older, definitely a mom and pop, direct to seller. It was a C-class property based on the age and probably the area, the location. We considered a value add because it is $200 below market. That's a really big market bump as far as rents go. Now, how have you guys progressed through the deal? Have you implemented your strategy on raising rents and the repositioning process? How is that going along?
So our business plan was, okay, so we want to raise an average rent of $100, $150 for the rest, for the next 2 years for all 43 units. So that was our business plan. And we per month, starting from, I think, third month, we had our property manager approach to the tenants, about 6 of them per month, and then try to convert. We had many month-to-month. We had over 50% month-to-month tenants.
Wow.
So we wanted to convert that into a long-term lease. So we had about 6 of them per month. So we did twice. So we had now about 10 people converted from month to month to long-term lease, 1 year at least. And what else we did? We tried the market. We wanted to raise for renew, like without doing anything. So we tried, and then we were able to raise $60 per renewing, doing nothing.
Okay.
And then next one, we tried a soft turn and just doing paints and vinyl plank and some touch-ups. We were able to raise, I think, $200 for a second floor.
Wow.
And then we had a hard turn, door change. We were able to raise $300 for that.
Really?
So we kind of tested the market, and we saw the opportunity is actually being in reality. And that's how we're moving. One by one, we're approaching the tenants. Hey, we're raising the rent, but we're not just raising the rent. We want to add some value to you. We're making the community nicer. We're gonna, if you want, we're gonna do deep cleaning for your carpets or changing the light bulbs and all that. So we're trying to add some value to the tenants, so they're like it. And I see the overall, little by little, the business plan gets executed. We recently changed all the roofs because it was old, 6 of them. And what else we did? So we're doing a lot. We are going to, we also changed the gutters and fascias recently. So it was just done yesterday.
And what is the plan for this? Are you going to be selling this property or refinancing this property?
So if the plan goes well, for the next like a year, we should be able to refi this property almost all, if not a big chunk of our money that was originally invested. And as you know, like $150 bump is huge. They don't understand if we just say, oh, we're raising the rent $50, $100 per unit. Okay, so what, right? But this is like a 7.5 cap area. And if you do that for 44 units, which is happening, it's almost like $1 million raise
of valuation.
Well, forced appreciation, we call it, right? And then if we could pull like even 70%, we're getting all the money back.
So when you say that to the people in New York now, and do they understand the model now, or they just say to you, I don't believe it, I have to wait to see it? Because when you talk to people like that, they think of, oh, let me buy it for X and I'll sell it for Y. And you're actually forcing the appreciation, forcing the value on this asset multifamily. So those conversations now, Yosef, are a little bit different. Now it's a lot easier because you have proof of concept, because you have a team built out. You've created a network in the Jake and Gino community. So now you, for the next couple of deals, you have the ability to raise the capital or ability to have those conversations, correct, with your network.
Yes, Gino, you had a great point. The proof of concept was actually working. I was able to show people that, look, this is what I did. In the beginning, yes, they didn't buy it. They were like, let me see what's going on. I wanna see how things turn out, right? So I told them, look, I'm gonna just give up on arguing with you or trying to convert you or anything. You know, just watch me, okay? I'm just gonna show you what I do instead of trying to convince you. So after the first deal, I put it up on the post on social media, explaining step by step what I did and what's going to happen in this property. A lot of people approach it to me, at least like 150, 200 people text me, asking me a lot of questions. Out of that, I'm talking about total strangers, okay? I'm not talking about my friends. Yes, they 4 people invested in me out thereafter for the next deal. I didn't even have to raise capital. I was not under that pressure because we had other capital raisers in the team. But yet, it was fun to raise, explaining all that. But back to your point, yes, because of the first deal, I was able to build up a lot of credibility. And with that, our when we talk, if we have a credibility, we have a proof, right? It becomes stronger, right?
So Yosef, I have my last question before Josh goes to the short answer questions. If I am somebody in New York or California or any area where I can't invest in my backyard, what's the best tip that you could give them to start their multifamily journey?
Okay. The first thing is education. They got to know, right? Well, they have to know the concept, whether or not it's New York, California, or out of state like Kansas. They have to know the concept. And for the concept to be applied, they have to know all the lingos so that they can understand the process, right? So first,
Yes.
I tell them to learn the lingos, learn the process. I give them the Wheelbarrow Profit book. That's a perfect example. Not too long book. It's an easy read, but it has all the distilled, condensed knowledge in it. So I give it to them and they love it. And then they read it and then they come back. Okay, now I kind of know what's going on with the multifamily, but I want to do this. Like, what's the next step? I tell them, okay, the next thing, you need to know who you need to be associated with to make this happen, right? Because this is not a me sport. This is team sport. For example, I use this example a lot and it gives you instant answer to that. Look, Josh, let's say you're a beginner. Let's say you found this 50 unit deal and you bring it to the lenders. Then lender's gonna ask you, Josh, great deal. I love this. I want to lend you money. So tell me who in your team has a prior experience of running a size of deal like this, right? And then they're gonna ask, and also tell me who in your team has high net worth who could cover the loan amount with 10% liquidity. You should be able to say, oh yes, my friend, my partner Yosef or my partner Marco has this net worth or has an experience. Otherwise, they're not comfortable lending your money, even if this deal is a great deal, right?
Yes.
So back to the point, you must have a team and then you need to find the partners. How? I tell them there are 6 or 7 roles that a successful multifamily investing team has to be equipped with. There had to be boots on the ground, capital raising, underwriting, one person who's experienced, so can oversee the whole process, investor relationship person,
yes, capital raiser,
marketing, right? And also lastly, let's say what else? Broker relations. So relationship person. So you see these 6 or 7 roles in one team to be successful. Otherwise, it's like missing 2%. So I tell them, again, back to the exercise, you gotta try to reflect yourself and see what kind of value you can bring in and fit yourself, mold yourself into one of these couple roles, right? You gotta either be the boots on the ground. If you're not in market, then you're out of state. Boots on the ground partnership is gone. You gotta find somebody for that. And if you're starting now, you're not experienced in multifamily, so experience component is gone for you. If you don't have high net worth money, that role is gone for you. So what's left? Like you only have like a underwriting, capital raising, and investor relationship sort of, right? So only a few roles that you could take up if you're a beginner. So let's try to do this. I'm not saying easiest way, but the most doable way, I think, is either you find a deal, bring it to the investors, experienced syndicator, and pitch it to him. This is a great deal. If they like it, and ask them, can I be in your team and get some tiny little portion of GP share, and then learn the process. That, or ask the experienced syndicator when he has a deal or she has a deal, hey, I have some investors softly committed already. Can I actually raise money for your deal and then be part of your deal? They're gonna say yes, because everybody needs some money. But they're not gonna just bring you in if you don't have prior relationships. So that's why you gotta keep networking and build that relationship. And once you have that relationship, trust, find the deal or raise a capital for somebody, be in the deal together. Now your GP, let's say 100 unit, 50 unit, or 100 unit. First 2 deals, you do it not because you want to make money, but because you want to get your feet wet and have that credibility under your belt. Now you're a GP. The lenders might not care. They care less whether you're 6%, 10%, or 2%, right? They ask, are you GP? Yes. Okay, great. That's your credibility. With that credibility, now you can actually offer somebody with experience component. Now you can build your own team. You can help the beginner boots on the ground partner and be team up. You can offer your experience. You can offer capital raising side, etc. I think that's a way to make it happen.
I would challenge everybody to stop and listen to that again, because there's a lot of golden nuggets in there. what Yosef
Sorry,
is talking about.
I talk too much.
No, not at all. I can see from the education, you've been part of the community less than 18 months, and you've already built out a framework for yourself and for everybody else to follow. And really comes back to the education of being educated and knowing how to speak the lingo and knowing how to attract that team. So it's really important. Multifamily is a team sport. Let's take a quick time out to hear from our sponsors.
Gino, I know a lot of our listeners are wanting to take their multifamily investing business to the next level. I know that you've been hard at work helping Jake and Gino students do just that using our framework. Can you explain to the listeners how they can get our help?
Guys, we've been hard at work growing our community of like-minded investors, and the results of our members has been nothing short of incredible. We're looking to grow this amazing group. What we're looking for is those who want to follow our proprietary framework that we've created. Buy right, manage right, and finance right. Leverage our connections, education, and mentorship as ways to take your business to the next level.
So if you're interested in finding out more about how you can become a part of our amazing community, apply to work with us at jakeandgino.com/apply.
All right, Yosef, thank you for putting on that clinic earlier. And real quick, before we get into this, I want to hammer something out because you've not only done one deal, but how many deals have you done and how many total units are you up to currently that you're actively a part of?
So I joined Jake and Gino in February of March, let's say later March of 2020. First, with the goal of closing my first deal in 2020, which happened in December 2020. It was great. So that 43 unit closed in December 2020. And then we already had the 68 unit on the contract that we're working on. We had been working for 9 months, and that deal was closed in March of 2021. That was 68 unit syndication. And then I teamed up with Marco Barbaro. By the way, you all know, great guy. He actually offered me a position in his MIH Realty company as a legal due diligence and investor relationship. Mm-hmm. So I joined, and right after this deal closed, March of 2021, started helping him for capital raising, investor relationship, and drafting the operating agreements and all that. So legal due diligence side. So, and I got through him, I got a chance to be in a deal with Chris Jackson, who is my deal coach. And we were having crazy deal flow from my partner, Joe Sullivan, who's also joining Sharp Line Equity with Chris. We closed the 64 unit Warrensburg deal in Missouri in April, and then 36 unit Columbus, Ohio deal in May, and 72 unit Rogersville, Missouri deal in June.
So everyone out there is saying there's no deals in the market, you can't find anything, everything's expensive. What I see is you're in that sweet spot of the mom and pops, sub 100 units. You guys are operators. And the amazing thing, everybody, once again, Yosef has a great skill set: investor relations, legal due diligence, creating operating agreements, looking at all the investor relations, bringing that value over to Mark, and they're working together and they're expanding the team. So congratulations to you. I mean, closing one deal is amazing. So within 18 months, you're a part of looks like over 300 units, which is just truly amazing. It's awesome.
Yeah, Yosef, way to go, man. All right, so some short answer questions for you. What is your favorite book you've read and why?
Well, first of all, Robert Kiyosaki was the one. It doesn't get you really practical skill set or practical steps of how to be rich or wealthy, right? But it actually turned my mindset upside down. It was the total mindset changer. So I give value to that. And then the practical skill set came from Jake and Gino book, Wilbur Profits. I have a PDF version, and I always send this to people that I network with. Read this and watch a couple of videos, and I send a couple of YouTube podcasts from Jake and Gino, right? Great. That was actually practical step-by-step framework that I learned. Wilbur Profit, and also the Honeybee. That's a great book too. So I recommend that. My daughter read it, by the way, and she loved it. Mm-hmm. And it was that easy book for even children to understand the concept of passive income stream. So it was a great book. These three books are the ones.
As we like to say,
recommend probably is Joe Fella's syndication book.
Great book.
It's a great book too. Step-by-step practical guideline for syndication.
As we like to say, Jake and Gino, Robert Kiyosaki tells you why to become rich. Jake and Gino will teach you how to become rich. You need them both.
Perfectly put.
Well said. All right, best habit for success. Go.
Best habit. I'm more like, I have like obsessive, I could probably call it more obsession of writing down my planning. So time blocking.
Yes.
Time blocking. It doesn't really have to be on the paper. You could type it, but I gotta have it. And as I type or as I write, I experience my idea gets concrete, more clear. And then what I also do is I repeat that to myself as if I'm teaching it to myself.
Yes.
And then you could finally have this distilled, purified idea of who you are and what you want to do and why you're doing this. So but the reason why I've said obsession is I really, really spend a lot of time planning out and making sure things are in order. And I have some time blocks for, important things like family occasions and, something like this today, I got to do this. I got to make it happen. So I skip lunch. I don't have to, right? And, doing this. So that's where I think my value is at when things happening, right?
I love that.
Yosef, man, we're going to call this episode Networking Your Way to Success. I think that really is the golden nugget out of this one. And you even gave a really good formula on how to network. But Gino, hit us with some more golden nuggets.
So Yosef Lee, 18 years old, comes from South Korea, lands in New York, probably has a difficult time. It's a new country, new language, new atmosphere, and his parents tell him you got to go to school, and he decides to go to college, decides to become a lawyer to show everybody that he is the man. In the meantime, he learns that he needs to work harder if he wants to make more money, and he labels himself as a rat, just like the rest of us. We're all rats out there. He reads the Robert Kiyosaki book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and all of a sudden he figures out, wow, there's so much more out there. I want to become an entrepreneur. How do I become an entrepreneur? Let me start by trading stocks, mutual funds, real estate investment trusts. These are all vehicles. And then he stumbles upon multifamily. But the problem with multifamily in the New York area, it doesn't work the same way as it does other places. He wants to have cash flow. He wants to have passive income, and he wants to have those tax benefits. There's so many amazing benefits to multifamily. And then he realizes, I need to get educated. He joins Jake and Gino in February of 2020 with the goal of buying his first deal. We all know what happens in March of 2020. The pandemic hits. He can sit there and make tons of excuses and say, I can't network. I can't go anywhere. How am I going to look at deals? No, instead, Yosef creates a plan, and he proceeds to have over 200 Zoom calls over the next year, meeting all of the Jake and Gino students and having so many epiphanies along the way. Well, how do I add value to people? Well, where does the value come from within me? He creates a plan on how to add value. And then he has a fortuitous event when he meets Mark and he meets his partner, Joe Sullivan, and Chris, his coach, and everything starts to come together. They find a deal in October of 2020. They end up closing their first deal before the end of the year. And then 2021 opens up another chapter in his life where he takes down a few hundred more deals. And then the sky's the limit. He starts working with their company as far as legal due diligence. He finds what he loves. And we didn't even ask Yosef, but the next 3 to 5 years seems like he's just going to continue to stack on more assets, put more assets on that conveyor belt, see where those assets go. And then one day he can say goodbye to his law job. But in the meantime, he still loves what he does. It's an amazing thing where you love your work, you love your job, but you have the options. And I think the quality of your life really comes down to the quality of your options that you have. You can still go to work. You love to go to work, but if you don't have to go to work, you can do something else. That is so much value in life. Josh?
Gino, I love that. Yosef, how can everybody get a hold of you?
I'm active in social media, so you can find me either Facebook or LinkedIn or Insta. All handles are Yosef Your Brosef, YOUYOSEF, YOUR BROSEF, Yosef Your Brosef. So you could reach out to me. I love to network. I guess again, I want to emphasize network is your net worth. And Jake and Gino is a perfect place to network with great, amazing, like-minded individuals. So yeah, and I also want to add a few more names like Mercy and Handra, Darren, Greg, and Rafe as well. Been amazing people to network, and they became my partners. And without them, I would have never been able to come this far. Marco Barbaro, you guys, Josh and Chris Jackson, Vince. I can't name. I just trying to name a few, but there are a lot more. So I'll stop here. And love the process. That's, I think, I heard this from you, Gino. Love the process because it's going to be a long game. Yeah. It was my first deal. It took 10 months without knowing when it's going to be done. Right. It was really painful process. However, once that first deal was done, second deal and third and fourth, I just came.
Yep.
So I guess that's how it works.
They don't just come. It's called the momentum, and it's called having the long view. That's what it comes down to. The deals don't fall in your lap. You work really hard for that first deal, and then after that, well, the momentum, the credibility, that long-term mindset really kicks in.
Man, I love that. All right, listen, Yosef, I want to thank you for being an amazing guest on the show and sharing your movers and shakers story. Now, listen, if you like the show, please leave us a review. And until next time, make it a Movers and Shakers week. See you, everybody.
Thanks, Yosef.
Thank you, Gino. Thank you, Josh, for having me. Have a great day.